Good evening, everyone. Good evening, 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 Ogeshi. Where are my guys? Where are my guys? Where are my guys? Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Now has been our days, our day rather. Good evening. Where is everyone now? Where is Fumi? Gladden, good evening. Bolatito, good evening. Chijoke, good evening. Thank you. How was our day? Oh, great, great. I'm glad your day was great. Good evening. Fidelis, good evening. Where are the others? Where are the others? Where are the others? Go and tell them we are back with the powers. They should come to class. Come to class. Come to class. Gladys, I've missed you too. I've missed you. I'm back today. Don't worry. I'm back with my powers. I'm back with my powers. It's going to be another explosive section, but I'm sure that you've had an amazing sessions through and through, right? Fusi, good evening. How is it going? Precious, good evening. Chidoke, they don't expect us to begin this early. Have we ever started later than this? I mean, for my own section. Diamond, good evening to you too. Don't be envious of my EBA. Thank you, Temitope. Today we are still going to look at the EBA app. How we would build an actual EBA app, the steps involved, right? From beginning to the end of the EBA app. So get ready. Good evening, Olushi. Good evening. Precious, it's also good to see you again. I missed you guys. I must say, I promise. I missed you. Good evening, Mr. Slim. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm still waiting to see some faces. Some people, some of my goons. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Go and call them. Oh. Deborah, good evening. Go and call everybody that the man with the powers is around. Jamie, good evening. Good evening. How was our day? How was our day? Joseph, good evening. Oluchi. It's good to also be here. It's just good. It's good. It's good. It's good. I've missed you guys. Honestly, I've missed everybody. You missed last class. You can always catch up. I believe it's on the channel. Good evening, Tosin. I was missed. I missed you guys too. I miss everybody so much. So much. So much. Good evening, Mr. Timileyin Adeshino. Good evening. We'll be starting in a bit. But before we start, can you just quickly tell me what you've learned so far? Now, you're going to give me an answer in two ways. Give me how the experience has been so far for you and what you have learned in a nutshell. Good evening, Yekin. Give me how the experience has been so far and what you've learned so far. I want to hear it. I know you have learned a lot. Good evening, Chris. Rhoda, good evening. I know you've learned a powerful experience. Oh, that's great. That's great to know. All right. I'm waiting to hear it. I'm waiting to hear it. Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting to see. I know the sessions have been explosive, but I want to really know what you've been learning so far. Deja, good evening. Hello. The experiences have been so impactful. It's good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Good evening, Sarah. It's been so innovative, and I've learned about solution giver and job. Oh, great. Design thinking process. Oh, great. Great, 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 great. What else did we learn? What else did we learn? Where is this Fufu man? I've forgotten his name. Where's that Fufu man that is beefing my Eba app? Where is he? It's a great experience, and the last class was really awesome. Great. We're getting to know about Lovable, your amazing AI. Oh, great, great, great. Learned about get to the market, which is a complete plan to outline how the business will introduce a new product. Great, great. I'm glad you're learning. I'm glad you're learning. Oh, great, great. Oh, you learned how to draft PRD. All right, great. Learned about design thinking, AI prototyping. Great, great. Bola Tito Adle. Hmm. All right, great, 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 great. The benefits of user flow. Great. Hmm. Hmm. All right, great, Deja, great. So you've learned about design. Ezedebe, welcome. Thinking sprint, AI prototyping. All right, great. Some pricing strategies are scheming, pricing, value based. All right, great, 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 great. Okay, without wasting much of our time, let's go into what we have today. So, and today is going to be very interesting, like always. Good to see you too, Ezedebe. Good to see you. It's going to be very interesting. Today, we want to understand the product development life cycle, right? Like I always tell you, you see this English you are seeing on the on the slide. Hold it in one hand. Is the hand eba. So I'm here to help you, make the eba soft so that you can swallow it. I miss if I miss you. I hope I'm right. So take this English, hold it in one hand, right? My job here is to help you break it down. So we want to understand the product development life cycle. Then what do I mean? Right? I mean that today, today, we want to understand, right? You know, all the steps involved in building any tech product, right? That's still a big English, Abi. Today, we want to understand how we come about taking an idea, moving a product from idea to a real-time product. You understand? Now, what do I mean? We want to learn how you are just thinking about it. For example, me, I was thinking about my EBA app because I need people to see the goodness of EBA. They should be able to access EBA, without any obstruction. So it's just an idea in my head. So I want to show us the steps involved, right? In just taking this idea on my head to an actual app where people can log in. Oh, my audio is low. Are you sure it's my audio? Please let me know. Is it my audio? Is any other person hearing me? Is any other person hearing me, please? All right, great. All right, great. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was scared. So we want to know how this thing, moves from just my idea, right, and goes into an actual product. You understand? So Eba app was just an idea in my head. And now I want to walk you through how I took it from this idea, right, and made it into an actual product where people can actually log in and access Eba. You understand? All right. If you are with me, tell me you are with me. You are with me before we start to dive deep. All right. Tell me you are with me before we start to dive deep. All right. So the things I'm going to be walking us through, right? We want to understand what product development itself is. You understand? We want to talk about the different stages, in this life cycle. The different step involved from carrying it from my idea into the actual product. All right. We also want to understand the thing that is involved in each of these phases. You understand? All right. If you are with me, say yeah, yeah. Type yeah, yeah. Type yeah, yeah. If you are with me, just type yeah, yeah. All right. Thank you. I'm glad you're with me. Please, so stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Like I've always told us, this slide is just a plus. If you listen to me and you understand, you'll be able to make your own slide. And my own goal is that you are able to make your own slide, develop your own EBA app. And for the people who have issues with my EBA app, go and develop your own Fufu app, maybe Amala app, or whatever app you want to develop. But then understand the concept. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'm feeling you people spiritually. All right. Thank you. Okay. Let's start with. All right. So this is the first question. What is product development? Right? Because before I will start to walk you through, you know, the step involved in actual product development, you should even understand what product development means. Close your eyes. Assume you have not seen my slide, right? From the learnings you've learned in this past few days, can someone just tell me what they understand by product development? Somebody, fast, fast, fast. You might get a hot EBA this evening. Fast, 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 fast. Close your eyes to the slide and tell me in your own language and how you understand it what product development means. I am waiting. What do you understand by product development? Let me take the slide off so that uh, all right, tell me in your own knowledge from this experience, what do you think product development is? Right? Before you look at the English I have in my slide, what do you understand by product development? I'm waiting. All right. Product development is the process of taking a new product from an initial idea to its final market release. Thank you, Additional. Making improvement, the step you follow to bring product to life. Thank you. That was so simple and explicit. Process involved in creating a product from ideation to launch. Thank you, Ezedebe. Coming up with an idea, developing the idea via technology to solve human needs. Thank you, human needs. That's very profound. Yeah. All right. Product development is the process involved in building a new product or enhancing an existing to the market. Thank you, Samuel. It's the process of creating the product from start to finish. Thank you. Oh God, we don't even have to teach this thing again. These people are, oh my God. It's the process of building a product starting from the ideation process to the market launch. Thank you. The step-to-step process of taking a product from idea to the finishing. Thank you. Let's just call it a day. You people are too good. All right. All right, so that I don't get fined. But thank you. You guys have said amazingly well. Thank you. I feel like a proud, teacher right now. All right. Teaching, facilitating training for the most brilliant people in the world. All right, thank you. So remember that whatever you're building must first solve a problem. You are not just building an idea because you have an idea. I mentioned it in one of the previous classes. You are building a product because it's solving a specific user problem. Now, product development now in itself, in the way I'm going to break it down, now is the process of you ideating. What do I mean? Ideating is being English. You thinking about a problem and a solution, think doing your research, to designing, to building it and delivering that product. Take note. Is the process involved in first ideation, ideating? That's when you are thinking, you're doing your research, to designing, to building and delivering your product. You understand? Now, what do I mean? What do I mean? What I'm saying is that this product development, that big English, what it simply means is that it's just explaining a process, right? It's explaining a process that is involved in you first ideating, thinking of a solution, right? Then you go ahead to plan that solution. Then you design that, the solution you thought of, design it so that people can see. Then you go into building it, the actual development. Then you now deliver it. That is what you call launch. You now push it to your customers to use. Do you understand? Or do I come again? So let me come again. So product development is just a process and it's just a big English. All he's trying to tell you is that he's describing that process that helps you to take your idea from that idea as it were to that phase where you start to plan how you are going to build out that idea, to you designing that idea and then building it out actually, then giving it to your customer to take note, to solve their problems. All right. Do you get that? Do you get that? If you get it, say, I get it. If you get it, tell me you get it. All right. Okay. Ibukun wants me to come again. All right. You get it. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So, Ibukun, all I'm saying is that it's just a process. You understand? The whole product development is just a process. Yeah. That involves you taking an idea from that ideation phase, which I'm going to explain each of these stages so you get to understand it better. You are taking it from just being an idea, right, into planning out how you would actually build it. You understand? Into building it in itself so that it can become an actual product. Then you releasing it, you giving it to customers, you giving it to people to use so that they can solve their problem. You understand? Thank you, Olayinka. Thank you. All right. So, thank you. I'm glad you get it. So, a lot of times when people say a product, all they think about is, we write code. People just write code, want to build an app. No, there is more to building an app than just building an app. The whole life cycle, there's a life cycle involved. In your biology, you remember the life cycle of your butterfly and all of those stuff. From larva, spare me, I'm a retired science student. From all those stages, it's the same thing that applies to the product you see. Before WhatsApp became WhatsApp, it went through certain stages. They didn't just come about building WhatsApp. There was a phase where they had that idea in their head, right? To the phase where they planned it out, to the phase where they started to design the screens, to the phase where engineers started to write the code, to the phase where they were able to release a version to us to use. You understand? Facebook, Zuckerberg thought about Facebook. It was a brilliant idea when he was in college, right? He thought about it. From there, he went to plan it out. From planning it, they now started the actual building of that product, right? Before they now released it to us. You understand? Before you started to sign up on Facebook to connect with your friends, there was actually a process involved. That process involved is what we are discussing today. Hope we get it now. All right. Hope I'm not too fast, please. Hope I'm not too fast. All right. Thank you. I'm glad you get it. I'm glad. All right. So, let me just say this passively. A lot of time, a lot of people, I believe not you people, think that having a product is just you building it out, right? Product development is not just writing code. You understand? It's not just writing code. As little as the stack that the stack you want to build with, as little as the language you want to use to write your code, as little as the infrastructures that you will use, all of these things requires planning. You understand? You don't just go about product development is not just you writing code. First off, first, even before you go into all of those things, you must first of all identify that there's a problem you are solving, right? There is a user pain point. I've always told you, as product manager, the success of a product, right, is not just that you built a product and it's launched. It's more than that. The product you launched, are people using it? What is the user experience? How are the customers enjoying your product? Is it solving their actual problem? You understand? So it starts from you identifying the user pain points. You understand? And these are the things you find out all in the place of your research. I have the idea. My idea might be noble to me, but is it actually solving people's problem? That's the essence of the research, the essence of the ideation we do at the beginning of product development. I hope I'm not too fast. If I'm not fast, just say you are not fast, please. Okay. I believe that this stuff maybe they just branch through it, but just pay attention. There would always be something to learn. Maybe during the introduction class, they just they ran through it and ran you through the entire, um, gave you an idea of what you are working on, right? But please pay attention. You understand? Pay attention. Pay attention. Understand these things, right? All right. So thank you for letting me know I'm not too fast. All right. So you identify your user pain point, right? Then you launch your the product, the solution, and you make sure it is used. Let me come again. Now it starts with you identifying your user pain point, product development in itself, knowing the pain points of your users. This idea you have in your head. Whose problem is it solving? Do people need this solution I'm offering them? You understand? That is the beginning. From there, it now moves to you, trying to build that product. You launching that product and having it being used. You understand? All right. Did you get that? So let me see what I have in my slide. All right. So in the slide, I said product development is the end-to-end process of building product that solves users' problem. It involves research, planning, designing, building, launching, and improving. I was tempted to say, praise the Lord. I felt like I'm preaching. All right. Hope you are getting it. All right. So there are certain stages involved, right, in the product development lifecycle, right? Now, I would do my best to give us practical examples, right? Practical examples that we can relate with, right? So these are the stages involved, right? We have the ideation phase, that's the discovery phase. I'm going to explain these things one after the other. From there, you go into the planning phase, right? Take note, the discovery and ideation phase, the planning phase, the second one. The third phase is the design and prototyping. I'm going to explain this one after the other, but just follow me as I go. After the design, the next phase is the development, right? And testing. You understand? Then the launch and the post-launch. All right. I believe that they've mentioned to you about this post-launch. You would have heard some of these things I'm mentioning, right? But then these are the stages involved, right? These are the stages involved, right? The discovery and ideation, the planning, the design and prototyping, the development and testing, the launch and post-launch, and the improvement. Now, let me take it one after the other. One after the other. All right. So that ideation phase, that first phase, yeah, is that phase where you understand the problem you are trying to solve. You understand? You talk to users, you know, you look at your competitor. So let me break it down. Now, you know that I have my idea of Eba app that I feel like people need to, see the graciousness of Eba, but they can't have access to that Eba. It's just an idea in my head. Now, before I go about building this idea, turning this idea in my head into an actual product, there must be an ideation phase, a phase where I'm doing my research. Really, do people have issues accessing Eba? Do people really even want Eba? In this class, we had, where's Gabriel, the fufu guy? Now, in my survey, I might get to know that Gabriel does not actually like, Eba. And if I have Gabriel alone in my community and I'm building an Eba app for Gabriel, that means my product has failed on arrival. I will waste time, waste resources, build this product, nobody will use it. So before I even go into investing so much resource into building out a product, I want to know, is this product actually solving a problem? Do you get? I want to know, do people need this product? I want to find out how many people need to access Eba. Maybe the people that are accessing Eba are not actually accessing good Eba. They are accessing all those stony Eba, all those ones that have balls in between. So me, I'm giving them Eba that changes life, a gracious Eba. So it's an idea. And I'm thinking, how about I build a product where people can log in, see my Eba, and order for Eba? You understand? Now, before I go about starting to build it, I want to find out, do people have the same problem I have, which is accessing Eba, which is getting a good Eba? You understand? So the first phase is these people, this Eba, do you want it? You understand? That is where this discovery and ideation phase is. I'm trying to solidify this idea. That's the word. I'm trying to solidify this idea to see that, okay, this idea is actually a thing. It will fly. People will use it. There's actually a problem here. People cannot access Eba. You understand? So this phase is where I'm trying to solidify my idea. Do you get it? Do you get it? So, all right. So that is what this first phase is all about. Please, do you get it, please? Now, in this first phase, if you want to understand, while we're learning how to do our PRD, we learn some of these things that is in line with this thing. Now, in this phase, you also want to understand that, okay, this is a problem. You want to know how many people is already offering this solution to people. That's why my Eba app idea is a noble idea. Nobody has an Eba app. The closest to it is Chowdeck, Glovo, but they don't even have an Eba app. I have different, recipes of Eba that they don't even know. Don't thank me. Don't thank me. All right. So I want to also look at my competitors at this ideation phase, in this discovery phase, to know my direct competitors, my indirect competitors, right? Is there a solution similar to what I'm trying to build? What am I going to do that will be better? How can I solidify this idea such that people will buy into my idea? What am I doing better than these other people? It is at at the very first stage that you need to know this, because you don't want to go and start to waste your money. Maybe you are far gone with your product and you discover that, no, 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 no. I actually wasted money, or there's an app that does exactly what I'm trying to do. You understand? So that is the first phase. I'll come back to our questions. I'll pick them one after the other. Now, the second phase is the planning phase. You understand? Is the planning phase. The PROD we learned how to do, the roadmap we learn how to do, you know, all this comes in during the planning phase. You want to define your product. You want to explain what your product will do. You understand? You want to know, and you want to know what it would take you to build that product. All of this is the planning phase. You know that. Thank God I taught us roadmaps, how to create roadmaps. I taught us PROD, and we learned the importance of these things. This PRE document, like we learned, helps us to even know our success metrics, gives us an overview of the product, you can see the product, right? The planning phase, you understand all it takes. The functionality, the requirement of your product, you already know them. So that when you want to go ahead and build, you already have covered for, all of the requirements to building your product. You have covered for all the important things you need to know before dipping your legs inside the deep ocean. All right. That phase is when you define your product. Do you get it? Do you get it? Because you don't want to, you don't want to just jump into, you don't just want to jump into like a popular quote. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Right? So this phase is just after you have solidified your idea. You have known that, okay, this idea is actually a thing. People will buy into this idea. Then you want to go into building it. No man will build a house without counting its cost. So the planning phase is for you to count your cost, define your product, define what is coming out at what time, define what you are doing per time, define what is involved in achieving what you are planning to achieve. Those are what is happening during the planning phase. I'm tempted to say hallelujah somebody, but are we getting it? Are we getting it? Are we getting it? If you are getting it, say yeah, yeah. If you are getting it, say yeah, yeah. So, all right. So, and this thing is done everywhere, irrespective of the organization you find yourself. You might be noble enough to think of an idea, and you can work in an enterprise where the product you are building are organ centric. What do I mean by organ centric? It's your boss that has the idea. He wants to build out a product, then he employed you, to be a product manager, of that product. You must also plan. All right. Fusi, please just pay attention. What you had before was the introduction, which was just talking through all of this, which was meant to talk you through, this life cycle, what product management is all about. You understand? Please just pay attention. I believe that there will be something or more you can learn, right? There will be one or two things to learn. People are catching it. People are catching it. All right. Okay. So, um, this planning phase, Fusi has made me lost my chain of thought. So this planning phase is where you count your cost. You understand? You do your PRD. Yeah, I was trying to give an example, like in the workspace, right? In the workspace, it's very important. You might be the one coming up with the idea, coming up with the future idea, telling your bosses, but most of the time, right, it could be your boss who would actually even tell you that we are building up a product and they just hire you, right? Maybe they want to build a fintech app, maybe they want to build, an agri app, maybe they want to build an e-commerce app, maybe they want to build anything. They just employ you. So it could be organ centric, Oga could tell you this is the idea I want. I don't need your idea. This is what I feel customers need. But even at that, you still need to plan. You understand? I told you when you are doing your PRD can be shared with stakeholders. Stakeholders would, anybody who picks your PRD, understand the product you are trying to build. You're planning it, you are doing your user flow, all these are part of the, planning phase. You understand? Anywhere you find yourself, you go to the planning because as a product manager, it's very important for you to plan your product before going into it. That way, if you plan, you can see the end from the beginning, and you can see the beginning from the end. You understand? You know what to expect. You understand how you want your app to flow, how you want it to go. You understand what you want to deliver per time. You understand what is to expect per time. You understand what is required to build your product. That is the essence of the planning. All right. Do we get it? All right. Let's keep moving. The next phase is the design phase, right? Is the design phase. Now, I believe that a lot of us are familiar with UI UX designers, right? Are we familiar with UI UX designers? Are we familiar with them? All right, this is the phase where you work closely with these people. You understand? You have gotten the idea, you have planned that idea, you want to transfer that same image that you have in your head to them so that they can actually represent your image, your idea graphically. You understand? You are working with that design team. It's just an idea. For me now, I just wanted to build an EBA, right? On my head, I just want people to order EBA. Then I talk to my designer. This is it. I want people to be able to come on this product and, order EBA. So I want to see a picture of what it will look like. Then they go ahead, design my home screen. You understand? They design my home screen, they show me the flow. They design the home screen. I can see a picture showing EBA. I can see a screen telling me to select my type of EBA. So this is the phase because, ideas are beautiful, but it is even more beautiful when you can feel, when you can see, when you can touch. You understand? So that's the beginning. So they design screens. They design screen. For example, this screen that you are seeing, the YouTube screen you are seeing, it was first designed. You understand? They knew that the video box would be at one area. They knew that the search area would be at one point. So that picture, the person who had that idea was able to see that picture. I can't imagine how that person would feel. Maybe he probably jumped up when he saw the picture. You understand? At this phase, you are working closely with this design team in order to bring your idea into something that is graphical, something that you can see. Do you understand? That is the design and prototyping phase. All right. They create a visual layout and a flow of your product. A lot of when they design, in fact, they do it in a way that you can even click on the next. You can see the different screen, the way it flows. You understand? That way, you are starting to feel alive. When you just have the idea and you have not seen it, it looks beautiful. I tell a lot of people, my day-to-day job, what I usually do is when there's an idea or you tell me about an idea or when they bring a feature request, one of the things I usually do myself, I try to create a picture in my mind. Sometimes I go to, I use Mirror, sometimes I use FigJam, and I sketch out, the flow in my head of how I think this idea they are telling me looks like. Because sometimes it gives me joy when I can see my thought. You understand? So let me put it this way. The design phase is when you're able to see your idea. You get it. When you're working closely with the UI UX designer and they are bringing life into your idea, you can actually see it. You can see it. That's the next phase. All right. So that's the design phase. Now, take note. I told you, let me come again. I told you that it starts with ideation. Solidifying your idea if it's actually solving a user problem. Now, after you have proven, and you have seen that, okay, this idea works. This idea is a thing. You now go into planning, accurate planning on how you will bring this idea into life. You understand? Where you wouldn't leave any stone unturned. Oh, sorry, I assumed it should be brighter now. So, remember, you try to solidify the idea to be sure that this idea you are trying to push is actually a valid idea. You can do your surveys, get feedback from users who you feel will use the product, carry out surveys, what they think about. I believe that a lot of us are seeing, surveys that is asking us, what if you see someone who help you pick up? You have seen different type of those survey. Those are part of the things that you do during ideation. You understand? They want to find out if you really have this problem. If this problem is solved for you, will you be happy? They want to validate their idea. That's the word. The first state of the ideation is trying to validate that idea. Now, after they have validated the idea and they see that this is a thing, they go ahead and plan. In this phase, that's when they come up with their product requirement document and all of those stuff. You understand? We have already talked about, the product requirement document and all of that stuff. So from there, they go to designing. I have told you, at this phase, UI UX, user interface and user experience. All right, user interface and user. So these people design it. Your idea is good, you have it in your head, but these people help you to represent it visually. You can now see your idea. You understand? If someone asks you, can you see your thought? Yes, I can see my thought. Thanks to designers who can help me actually design my thought. Don't mind me. All right. So after that design, then people start to write their codes. Thank you, the Mr. Slim. Thank you very much. Thank you for helping me put the correct UI UX. All right. So after you have designed it, you can already see, the product is starting to look real to you. That's when you now go into, the development phase. In this phase, engineer will start to write code. You understand? Can you see that the first thing in building a product is not just writing code? Can you see? All right. That time you now start to hear front-end engineer, back-end engineer. You understand? Front-end engineer, back-end engineer. Those people will now come together and start to build, right? Start to build. The back-end engineer will start to build endpoints, write endpoints. You understand? Create databases. Like the illustration I gave to the last cohort. Let me just, do a quick one, a rough one for you. All right. So the front end builds the screen, while the back end builds the engine. Let me use that word. It's just like a restaurant. Yeah. The front end is like where you sit down as a customer and your food is set. The back end is like the kitchen where the food is being cooked, where there is Maggi on the shelf, there is salt, there is stock, what do you call it now? Stockfish. You understand? While the front end is, is where you sit down and you just eat the food. Meanwhile, there's been an API who is like a messenger that is relating message from the back to the front, which is like the waiter. Do you understand? So the front end engineer, when you hear front end, just think of, that part of the restaurant where you sit down. Now think of yourself, who is the customer, as the user who wants to use the app. You understand? Now, you want to use the app, you are the customer. That means you want to eat the food. The product is the food, right? So you are sitting down and you are seeing the front end. Meanwhile, there is a back end, which is the kitchen where the food is being cooked. You understand? Thank you, James. All right. So this is where you have these engineers to work together. The back-end engineer building endpoints, building, APIs, then the front-end engineer consummating, integrating what has been built into the front end. That is why when you click on login, it logs in. A practical example, right? I don't want to complicate these things, but I'm trying to see how I can help you understand it. Right. So this is what happens. There's a screen. The front end engineer builds a screen, right? Where you enter you want to log in, right? You want to log in into the app. The front end engineer, you will see that screen where you type in your email address and your password. Meanwhile, what happens is this. Let me now tell you, Joro. Now, there is something called the database. Now, take it as a cabinet in the kitchen where the names are stored, right? The cabinet in the kitchen was created by the backend engineer. That's the database, right? Now, the front end engineer, right, integrates this cabinet. Now, no, let me look for a way to explain it. I don't want to confuse you guys. That's why I'm being careful. So, the cabinet. Now, when you enter your name, your email, and your password, and you click on login, what the front end engineer does is it makes sure that this front communicates with this back. You understand? And how it happens is there's something called the API, which is like a messenger. Now, it sends a request. The front engineer sends a request through this messenger called the API. That's like you are sending, you are telling the waiter, this is what I need. The waiter takes this thing that you need, runs to the kitchen. I feel like I'm confusing you people. All right, maybe we'll go into the API conversations later. Now, just take this in your hand. Take this in your hand. The front end engineer is the one who builds that screen you can see, where you can interact with. While the back end engineer is the one who builds that kitchen, where the food are stored and is being cooked. Do you understand? So the API is like the waiter that takes the request and gets the response from the back end and sends it back to you. You understand? So the front end sends a request to the back and receive. Do you understand? Thank you, Mabel. Let me stop at that so I won't confuse you. I'm just trying to explain to you what these two people does. So in the development phase, this is where the backend engineer so the development phase is where the backend engineer builds the endpoint, and the front end engineer integrates this endpoint, and you have a app. Do you understand? And you have the app. So these two people are working together to give you an actual app. But this is done after you have done your ideation, after you have planned and you have designed. You understand? So the front engineer builds the screen, integrates to the back end, the kitchen. You understand? While the back end builds, let me say like the engine. All right. So let me stop with that there. Let me stop the explanation there. I believe that we'll still talk about APIs and all of that stuff. Hopefully, I might be the one to take the class. Hopefully. All right. So and there's this testing phase that is tied to the development phase. Now, there are some people called the QA engineers. I know we might have heard of them before. How many of us have heard about QA engineers, quality assurance engineers? How many of us, please? If you have heard about them, tell me I have heard. I have heard. Just type it. Just type it so that I will know. All right, great. So testing most of the time is done by the QA engineer, quality assurance engineer. So when you build, so in real terms, when we are done developing, we have different environments that we deploy to, right? Different organizations name it different way. We have the dev environment, we have the staging environment, then we have the production environment, the live environment, right? This dev environment is where the developer does all these things, push the code, Then we have the staging environment where it's like a replica of the live environment, of the production environment, but it's not the production environment. Before anything goes live, it first sits on that environment. You understand? You understand? Then it moves to live where the customers will see. Now, this interface you are seeing on YouTube has another interface that before it came to you people was already, deployed to, and people can actually interact with it, but then you don't have an access to it. After it's confirmed that everything is good on this environment, on this place, then it's now moved to you people to see. Thank you, Fusi. Yeah, that's the meaning of API. Sorry, skipped. I didn't mention it. All right. So there's someone who ensures that what you build works, and they are called the QA engineers. After the developers have built, you understand, they come and they test. I'll tell you for a fact, the QAs most of the time, sometimes, are like nightmares to developer because they try their best to break their app. So they want to make sure that there are no gaps. Now, they test using certain acceptance criteria. What do I mean? There are some things there are some lines that must be crossed, some dots that must be ticked. You understand? Before this product can go. So this engineer comes to test to ensure that all lines are ticked, all I's are dotted before this product will go. If the QA engineer does not say this product is good to go, the product returns back to the developer until all the criteria are met. Do you get? So these QA engineers test, test, test. Although oftentimes I tell developers to test before they even, deliver the work to the QA. It just makes life easy. You understand? So sometimes, I have, thank God we now have, automated QA testers, people who can actually test endpoints. At the time the backend engineer builds the endpoint, I would have my QA test it, to be sure that the endpoint works as expected. After, we also have the manual testers, right? They are also QA engineers that after you have tested, when they see email, they try to put incorrect emails to see if they will go past the login screen. They try to break the app just to make sure that this app is good. Now let me give an example. Permit me. So you don't want to go to your bank app, for example, enter your username and password and click login, and it takes you to maybe a YouTube page. You understand? So this is the work of a QA engineer. He wants to make sure that when you click on login, you actually log in and you see what you're supposed to see. So after development, they test to make sure that all these criteria are met. Do you get it? All right. Thank you. Yeah, you can test APIs on Postman. Yeah. Okay. You don't have to have beef with your QA engineers. You have beef, you don't have beef with them. They are doing their job. You understand? They are doing their job. In fact, if they are doing their job to make sure nothing breaks, to make sure that all T's are crossed. All right. All right. So then after you have developed and you have tested and you're good, that's when you can now release it to customer. You can now take it to the live environment, the production environment, where thousands of people can start to use it. You understand? You launch it, and that's like the final phase for you. No, that is not the final phase. A lot of times we try to stop at this launch. Post-launch iteration. So I usually tell people, right, that your work as a product manager, right, does not end after your product is live. After you have launched it, maybe after your product is on Play Store. A lot of people feel like that's the end of. No, that's not the end of the road. Maybe somehow the work just started because you want to see how well users are using your product. You want to check for certain metrics. I don't know if you have mentioned to you about metrics. You want to check. You want to see maybe this product is really solving a problem. You want to gather feedback from your customers. Maybe you need to go back to the drawing board, reiterate. Maybe you need to improve on something. You understand? So after launch, your work continues. You are checking, you want to check maybe people are using your product. What is the adoption rate? What's the churn rate? What's the retention rate? Do people come back? Or when they use the product once, they just go away? You want to check for all that. You want to find out why are they not using the product. You want to get feedback from them, how they are enjoying your product, so that you can go back to the drawing board and always improve on your product. All right. So I believe, Vincent, I believe that you can always go back to this on the YouTube channel and go over again as many times as possible. All right. All right. So these are the phases involved in building your product. This is the product development life cycle. Like I mentioned, it starts with the idea, but doesn't end with the idea. It moves from the idea to you planning. You understand? After you have planned it, then you go to design. You understand? After you have designed, people can now see. They can place a picture on what your idea looks like. You now start to build. You understand? After you now build, that's when you now push. You now test. Yes, you test, and this is how it works, right? Um, in a proper setting. After the developers have built and the QA has even tested, there is some sort of internal testing that is still done. You understand? The app is released not to everybody, but to maybe internal people, a certain number of people to use. You understand? To use and give their feedback before it's now released to a larger audience. Do you understand? Before it's released to a larger audience. Do you get? All right. Let's move. I believe we are clear. In recent time, we use, full stack developers are good to have, but then, you don't want to. Most of these startups are the one who is looking for, full stack develop, because they don't have enough resource to actually pay. But anyway, I don't want to create. I don't want to create. But there are people who are what's that word now? Who have proficiency. I want to believe, I might be wrong, that if you do both front end and back end, you will have more strength in one than the other. I don't want to believe that you will have the same level of strength. You understand? In both the front and the back, there will be one that you are better in than the other. It's good to be a full stack, but there will always be one you are better in than the other, right? All right. So before we'll go on a break in the next 1 minute. So before we go on a break, just give me a recap of everything I've said. I know I've said a lot of things, but then give me a recap. What have you picked from the class so far? What have you picked so far? What have you picked? What have you picked? What have you picked? I want to see. I want to see before we go on break. Sharp, 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 sharp. Sharp, 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 sharp. What have you picked so far in this class? What have you picked so far? What have you picked? Oh, I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see. What have we picked so far in this class? Thank you, David. Thank you, Opeyemi Elizabeth. Let me see response from two more people and we'll go on a break. Go and drink cold water. All right. Thank you, Chidoke. Thank you, Oyekule Taiwo. All right. Let's take a break for 5 minutes and we'll be back after the break. Thank you, Solomon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Bolatito. Thank you, Oluwaseun. Thank you, fellas. Can't someone just look at me without doing anything? This life is not for me. Honestly. In my first life, I feel like All right, welcome back, everybody. Tell your neighbor you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. Give your neighbor a hug. Give your neighbor a hug. Tell them welcome. Give your neighbor a hug and tell them welcome. Are we back from the break? I didn't define the hug. Just give your neighbor a hug. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Say welcome, my neighbor. Welcome, my neighbor. Tell them how much you miss them. So I'm getting emotional. I missed you guys. Thank you, Rashida. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Olalikon, welcome. See me, I'm hugging everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. The message. Ekabo. Welcome. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Thank you, kindly. All right. Welcome back, everybody. So today is going to be so fast. So you're going to drink water, right, and prepare for the next class. I'm going to be seeing everybody tomorrow, and I'm bringing some powers tomorrow. All right. So before we go again into this conversation, because we are looking at the team roles in the life circle. You understand? There are a lot of teams involved in this life cycle, and they all play a very important role. I've mentioned the product managers, I've mentioned the designers, I've mentioned developers, I've mentioned the QA. I think the only thing I added to this team that I did not mention are the stakeholders, right? And I'm going to speak about them briefly. All right. So before we go again to discuss the role, just do a quick recap for your neighbor. Teach them what you have learned so far. Teach them what you have learned so far. Let's do that in, let's say, 5 minutes. Teach your neighbors what you have learned so far. All right. All right. Teach your neighbor. Be the teacher for a few minutes and teach your neighbor what you've learned. I give you the chance to assume my seat right now and teach your neighbor. In the next 5 minutes, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. And you can also look at whatever questions that you think I missed and try to answer them. I'll be looking through the comment section, and if I need to provide any other guidance, I would. So let's do that in the next 5 minutes. Let's do that. Sharp, 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 sharp. I'm looking, I'm looking, I'm looking, I'm looking. All right, thank you, Chidoke. All right. 5 stages of product development. Okay. Thank you, Bolajito. Thank you, Jamie. All right, let's just get to it. All right, so there are different roles, right, in the life cycle, in the product development life cycle. Now, let me start with our own role, right? The product manager. The product manager. You know, a lot of times, product manager usually feel like they are the alpha and the omega. They feel like empty sometimes. And you know, that's the mistake a lot of them make. You know, and that's why you see that a lot of times, what's it called? Engineers don't like product managers because they feel like you are just there giving others around. You are just there, you're not doing the actual job, but then that's because of the way a lot of product managers, you know, positions themselves. So I just said that to say that when you get on actual jobs, don't be bossing your engineers around because you know that your goal is to actually have a successful product, you know, and to have a successful product, you need your team to work with you. You have timelines to meet, you know, you have deliverables, you have things that is expected of you, and you will not be able and you will not be able to, you know, you will not be able to build your product if you don't work with your engineer. You might have delay in building your product if you are in a longer head with your engineers. So you don't want to, you know, you don't want to boss them around. First, you want to empathize with them. You understand? You want to make their life easy. You understand? As much as you want to, ensure that they do your work. And you know one thing I've realized over the years, right, working with engineers, I don't think I've had problems with my engineer like a lot of product managers or a lot of engineers have problem. I've worked with a number of engineers and we've ended up being best of friends. And so we have delivered a lot of amazing products. Why? I know that they tell you that you should make sure they deliver on their job, but first, they are human. You should be empathic with them. I am saying all of this because I don't want you to get into the space and start to make mistake. Everybody has their ego. You understand? And when they feel like you are my colleague, you can't be bossing me around, blah, 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 they might want to contend with you. But there are ways that you can make them work. You can dictate to them and they do your biddings without them knowing that you're actually telling them what to do, without them knowing that you're actually them giving them orders. They will follow. I've been privileged to work with different engineers, both foreign and local. And I'll tell you for a truth, I have had, amazing experiences with my engineers, right? With my engineers. I can tell you for a fact, outside work, I know that work is work, but then I've also, because of my relationship with them during work hours, so to say, I've also built relationship outside work. Be empathic. You understand? Be empathic. I find this common with a lot of product managers, especially in the Nigerian space. The way they talk, communication is key as a product manager. You should learn to communicate, and it cuts across. You must be able to clearly communicate your vision. You must be able to clearly communicate, your requirement. You must be able to even know what to say. You must know what to say. You see, now there's a difference between me telling my developer, please go and build the login screen, and me telling him, do you mind building the login screen? Maybe he was not able to meet up with the first timeline, and I'm going to meet him. Why didn't you finish? Why didn't you close up on your work? Why? Why didn't you? Why didn't you? And there's a difference between why didn't you and do you mind? Is there a reason why you were not able to finish this? Is there a way I can help? You understand? Being empathic. You understand? Is there a way I can help? You know, do you mind giving a timeline? You know, there's a time you escalate. But before you get to escalate, you need to be empathic. And a lot of times, product managers does that mistake. They want to they want to just boss people around, which is not a good one, right? So try to be empathic. Please give me a minute. So if you are being bossy, you can't get people to work with you, and it is normal. It is normal anywhere. Try to be empathic. Now, know when to escalate. You understand? Because you also have people who are expecting your deliverables. You have stakeholders who is responsible for you. You understand? You need to know when to escalate, but then you don't just escalate every time. You don't just try to order people around every time. No, you no go finish product. Oh, you won't go live on one product. I promise you. You will not. You will not. But if you learn to communicate, right? If you learn to communicate properly, if you learn to be empathic. In fact, in fact, honestly, um, when you are empathic with your people, it's easy for you to get them to do what you want. They feel like this guy understands me. This guy understands me. So there are times where I mean, there have been occasions where I've had a developer, she's not delivering on her job, she's not doing as expected. Normally I could have just gone and said, "Why are you not delivering?" I went to have the conversation. Is there an issue? Do you mind? I had that conversation, and she was able to tell me that she's having an issues with internet. You know, with her internet, she's having an issue with light and all of that. Ideally, I don't have a business. You have an issue with light or internet. They are paying you. You understand? I should tell you they are paying you. Do your work. But then, I went ahead. I didn't even mind because I tried to help out with the situation. That kind of person, you won't imagine that you don't expect her to be able to turn me down when I'm making a request. Why? Because I tried to understand how she was feeling, right? I tried to help her solve her problem. Then that way you'll be surprised that she would be eager to work. Even when there is no work, she will come and ask you, is there anything I can do? Right? So beyond, because I'm just saying this because a lot of times product managers make that mistake. I've seen them across my journey. People wonder why I'm able to deliver my product fast. They wonder why in my current place of work, people they wonder why developers are my friend. We might be working on different projects, and you want the engineer to attend to you, but they are surprised that these engineers would even attend to me and even leave whatever they are working on. They are surprised as to how I'm able to achieve this. It's simple. I'm just being their friend. I communicate with them with respect. I'm not there bossing them around. Do you understand? So Don't make the mistakes of some product managers who feel like they're CEOs, quote and unquote. That's what my developer friends usually call them. Try to understand them. Try to communicate with respect. You understand? Try to communicate with respect. Be cool. Don't try to be don't try to be their boss. You understand? Ask them, do you mind giving a time? You understand? Do you mind giving a time? Not when will you finish? You know, you mind giving a time. Do you understand? All right. All right, let's just move to what we want to discuss. The team roles in the life circle. So, like I mentioned, the product manager, you align the vision, you prioritize the features, right? You go about the planning. You are in charge, right? In charge of, making sure everybody understand what you're trying to do, making sure everybody's on the same page. That's your job. You make sure that what is coming out first, what is coming out next. You take ownership of your product. You understand? And you are able to communicate the same thing you have in mind to every other person. You understand? That's your job. That's your job. You own that product and you're able to communicate your idea to everybody. Everybody is on the same page. You are able to bring everybody to the same page so that you can achieve a common goal. That's your job. Do you understand? That's your job. You work with, and as a product manager, you work with cross-functional team, right? You work with cross-functional team. There are times where you have to work closely with the marketing department to the sales department aside your own, internal team. In agile structure, they call us product owners, right? Because you have certain conversations with the business team. Do you understand? So you own that product. You make sure everybody buys to your idea. Everybody is seen through your own lens. All right. Do you get that's your job as a product manager? And is all the PRD documentation is done by you as a product manager. The user stories, they are written by you as the product manager. You understand? Product prioritization is done by you as the product manager. You call the shot for the product. All right. Although sometimes, a wise product managers would take, we sometimes you take insights from other people. My early days as a product manager, right? I wasn't so technical. I wasn't so technical. So this is what I do. When we have certain deliberations, what I do is I have conversations with my engineer. I take insights from them. By the time I go and communicate with stakeholders and certain people, they feel like, oh, this guy is technical. He knows a lot. But the truth is, I did not know so much, but I was able to, collaborate with my team, get the ideas from, my engineers. When you ask me questions, I tell you, do you mind I revert back shortly? I go back to my engineer, I ask questions, he tells me, and I, give the feedback. People, and this is actually how you learn. Manage your team, make sure everybody is in the same page. You understand? So you oversee the product. All right. So another role in the life cycle is the designer. Those are the people that design. You understand? Everybody has to work together in oneness, and you must ensure that. You must ensure that as the product manager. Now, let me tell you one secret. If a product fails, a lot of times the product manager is held responsible. You are flogged if your product fails. They might not go and meet the engineer. They might not go and meet the so same vein. Sometimes we take the glory for products, but then you don't want to go and be taking all the glory. You have to be wise. Make your team members, make them feel part of your project. Make them feel happy to work with you. You know, make them feel happy to work with you. So if a product fails, they hold you responsible as a product manager. So you do all it takes for your product to be successful. Do you understand? You do all it takes for your product to be successful. All right. So the second one is the designer. The designer is responsible for the user experience and interface. They work with you. You know, you give them directions. In fact, you do the user thinking with them. You know, you think with them. You think through the process with them so that you communicate your idea, what you see, you communicate it with them. You understand? You communicate with them. So they just build those interfaces. You understand? But then remember, they must see what you are seeing as a product manager. Emphasis on that. They must see what you are seeing. So designer is the person that just designs the screen. You know, they help you see, have a picture of what you are trying to build. Do you get? All right. They design the interfaces. I want to throw jab, but then I don't know who is seeing me so that they will not come for me. I wanted to call them advanced graphic designer, but then that's all right. They create visual representations for the idea you have in your head. All right. So the developer are the one who builds. You know, they build each of your features, the functionality, and all of that stuff. They build them. That is the work. That's the role of a developer. They build. They write the code. Let me use the word. The developers are the one who write the code. I know you've heard things like JavaScript, React Native, React JS. You've heard Golang. You've heard what else? Nest.js. You've heard C Sharp. You know AS.NET. You've heard what other? So these people, developers, are the ones who write this code. Who writes the code? You understand? While the QA are the ones who ensure the product quality. They make sure that thank you, Python. They make sure that all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. All right. Now, another people that you have, Laravel, thank you. We have the stakeholders. The stakeholders. Now, let me spend more time explaining to stakeholders. Now, I don't know if they would still talk about that in length. So there are certain people who are like internal stakeholders, right? And we have the external stakeholders. The external stakeholders could be maybe the investors, could be, someone who directly or indirectly influences the decision of your app. The stakeholders could be the owner of the ideas, who gave you the idea, as a contract to your company to build. Their impact is very important in what you're trying to build. The stakeholders are the internal people you work with to actually actualizing what you're trying to build. For example, the ED, executive director, is a stakeholder in the organization you work because his idea, his input, maybe his money, plays an impact in your product. You understand? Your business people, the business department who wants to sell your product, they are also stakeholders, right? They are also stakeholders. Remember, all these people are to be carried along in the processes of through this your life cycle. You understand? Like I told you, when you write a PRD, this PRD can be shared to these people. It can be shared across so that they can have a picture of what you're trying to build, so that they have an idea of what it will cost and they can provide resources. These people are your team, the team you work with are actually, your stakeholders too. So stakeholders does not necessarily have to be your head of department. Yes, they are stakeholders too. Stakeholders are just people who have influence over the product you are building, directly or indirectly. You understand? Say for one, when we want to build product in certain, let me use one of the enterprises I work with currently. Sorry, the enterprise I work with currently. So there are certain people who are in charge of, when we want to build products, maybe we want to integrate, third-party APIs. When it comes to pricing and all of that stuff, they are the one who undoes the pricing. They negotiate with these people that we are trying to integrate their services, right? Those are stakeholders, right? They could be my colleague, but they are stakeholders because their influence is needed on my product. Do you understand? Now, another example could be, the business team. These people can just, they interact with customers, they get feedback from customers. Their input to me, their idea and insight is also valuable to the success of my product. They are also stakeholders. The ED can come tomorrow and say that if you need resources, you need money, you need to get their approval. You send your memo, you get their approval. These people, they are the one who is bringing their money. They are bringing their money into my product. Without their money, we can't even go live. Maybe we will not be able to even hire enough resources. They are also stakeholders. So stakeholders are actually people who have influence in your product. You understand? People who actually directly or indirectly affect your product, they are your stakeholders. Do we get that? And all of these persons are important to, thank you, Chijoke, they are important to your product. Different organizations have different structures, right? Different organization has different structures. Anybody that is involved in, that has like an actual contribution to your product is a stakeholder. What do I mean? He holds a stake in the success of your product. Do you understand? Do you understand? Anybody that holds a stake, just take that one like that, that holds a stake in the success of a product is a stakeholder. All right. Are we clear? Are we clear? All right. So let's talk about it in this angle. Now, I want to build my Eba app, right? My wonderful Eba app. So, to build this my Eba app, because I feel like now I closed work and I'm here trying to pass knowledge. I've not been able to access Eba now. I have not swallowed Eba. And I feel like there are categories of people in my there are people that falls into the same category of mine who is missing Eba so much. It's either I'm too lazy to go back after now, I gotta make Eba. But not anymore, anyways. I'm gonna make Eba. Or there are no good Gary in my environment. Now, I thought of the idea that what if I find a way to get Eba to myself, where after I close this laptop, I can get Eba delivered to me in my house. Right? It's all an idea. And I feel, oh, it's a noble idea. I feel like if I should create a solution, right, that ensures that people can access Eba, whatever their case may be, maybe they can't get good Gary, they can't get the Igbo Gary to make Eba Igbo, or they can't get Jebu Gary to make the normal, the other type of Eba. So I feel like if I build an app where they can just access, fluffy Eba, Igbo Eba, Ijebu Gari Eba, and they just order it, and in a few minutes they get the Eba delivered to their house. Would this be solving a problem? You understand? Now, I've thought of that idea. Let me build an Eba app. Now, I want to find out if this my idea is actually valid. You understand? That way, I can send surveys and find out what if you get access to Eba? What if you get access to Eba Igbo? What if you get access to Ijebu Eba? You understand? What if I get this access to EBA? Now I want to understand if people actually have this same problem as myself, that they cannot access EBA for whatever reason it may be. Now, after I've done my research, after I've gotten their feedback, after I have seen that this is actually a problem, after I have validated this idea, I have now found out that, oh, EBA Hub is really going to do a great thing. Then then I will now go ahead to plan. I will now start to document PRD, right? You know, give an overview of this product. EBA app is an app that wishes to solve the problem of, or EBA app is an app that gives access to different type of fluffy EBA. You understand? The requirement, I list out my requirement, the functions. You understand? I list out, I want to have a payment gateway on my EBA app. I want to have, what's it called? I want to have, what can I have on my EBA app? A tracking feature on my EBA app, so that somebody will not carry my EBA and run away. EBA is so precious. You understand? I want to have a tracking feature to track my EBA, where it's going to. You understand? I want to be able to see the list of EBA, the types of EBA on my app. So I do all those planning. I write my PROD. I do my roadmap. I'm able to say, okay, these are the things I want to, do first. I want to first have my menu, my home screen. I want to have a list of EBA. Then I want to be able to order. The next thing, I want to track my order. I want to make payment. You understand? I'm able to, prioritize this thing. I have a roadmap for my EBA. I have planned my EBA. Now I see that, okay, I have planned this thing. I have known the resources that is required. I know the requirements that I need for my EBA app. I have planned it. I have thought through it. I've written my documentations. I've written my user stories. And then I move to design. And they start to design. I've done a user flow set in my planning phase. Done a user flow for my EBA app. When you log in, you enter your email and password, you log in, you see the list of EBA, you click on it, you see the EBA detailed page, you see, you click your type of EBA, then you click on order. After you click on order, then you go to the payment gateway. Maybe I integrate with Paystack, or I build my own payment infrastructure, or I integrate with Flutterwave. I make payments, and then my order is done. And I'm looking at the rider. Where is my EBA now? My EBA has gotten to Ikoyi. Yes, my EBA is coming. I've planned all of those things. Then I go to my designer. This is the thing. Take this BROD, read through it. I've see my idea, see my beautiful EBA app. Help me bring it to life. Let people be able to see. I want to be able to put a picture to this my EBA app. Then my beautiful designer goes ahead and designs screens. He designed the login screen that I can see that there will be a box to put your email address, put your password. He designs the login button, designs the next home page. You understand? He designs the list of EBA. Do you understand? Then when I see the screens, I say, yes, EBA app is coming to life. You understand? Then I move ahead to, now we have the screens. Let us write the code. Then I employ or hire or I get resources, the front-end engineer, the back-end engineer, or I gather my team. I would have gathered my team during my planning phase though. So I go to my engineers. All right, this is what we are building. Look at it. This is the user stories. This is the PRD. This is what we want to achieve. All right, let's go ahead with it. This is the priority. For the first 2 weeks, we want to build the login screen and all of these things. And they go ahead and they start to write code. After they built it, then it moves from their desk to the QA. The QA tries to log in on my EBA app, enters the email address and the password and click on login. The QA must see that when they log in, they get to an home page that displays my list of EBA. If he logs in and is seeing fufu, he has to send the app back to the developer to go and correct it. This is not a fufu app, it is an EBA app. Do you understand? So after development and testing, then I will do a bit of internal testing where I my co-eba lovers they test my app to say, okay, this is good, this is good. Then I launch it. I launch it. I can allow all of you to access it and see the graciousness of Eba. You understand? I'm just a startup building Eba app, so I don't need all of those ones. If I'm an enterprise, then I can. I'm just a startup. All right. For startup, I can be a jack of all trades. When I've raised funds for my Eba app, then I can expand and start having different departments. Fidelis. So, but if you can invest in my Eba app, Eba is the future. Should I pitch to you? Invest in my Eba app, then we can have different departments. All right. So we launch. After launch, I want to check out for metrics. I want to see how well this Eba is doing. Are people signing up to my Eba app? How many people have signed up to my Eba app? How many people are actually using my Eba app? Are people coming back to order for Eba? Do you understand? So those are just the stages. Can you see that I have built my Eba app from discovery, from ideation to launch? Can you see? That's how it works. That's how it works. So go to the world and build Eba app. All right, don't build my noble idea. Go and build your own idea. All right. Hope you got it. Hope you all got it. Oh, if you got it, say yeah, yeah. Did you get it? Oh, so it's Boluatife. Not every organization have business analysts. You understand? Some organization have, they have business analysts, and a lot of times, business analysts actually relate directly with the business. You understand? They come up with documents like business requirement documents, and all of those stuff. Some organizations have business analysts, then different structures for different organizations. Some organizations don't even have business analysts. So some of the times the business analysts just stick to the business part. You understand? The business part. And give you a product business wise. You now your own job is to turn that idea or whatever they've given you to an actual product that you can develop. You understand? Depending on the different what's it called organization structure that you have. Do you understand? All right. Thank you very much. Permit me to leave you now to go and eat eba. We will meet again tomorrow by God's grace. For now, we have said a lot of things. Go and drink water, go and eat eba so that I can have enough energy for tomorrow. Enjoy your night rest and eat eba. Thank you, everyone.